Hey, welcome to another WLRN live stream. I'm Thistle Pedersen, and this is Emily Faye. And we're excited to have an online audience today. And also for our two guests, we have VF and Jade from Women Speak Florida, and they're here to talk with us about Pride, past, present, and future. Their personal experiences with Pride, what it means to them, and also about a TERF Pride event that they're organizing in New York City for July 23rd. I think women might have a lot of questions about that, and there's some excitement about just the idea of having TERF Pride in this month of June where we see so much trans propaganda that, pretends to be, well, it is proud, but it's in the sense of hubris, which is a specific part of Pride that is not about feeling good and confident and proud because you're a good citizen, for example, but more like pompous, and so I think exploring this topic of Pride with a bunch of lesbian feminists is a good idea during this month when we're just seeing that trans flag fly over City Hall in Madison and no lesbian pride flag. Let me bring on our guests, unless Emily, you want to say something?
Happy to be here.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to have us be joined by VF and Jade. Welcome, and let me see. I'm going to see if I can get a better screen here. Oh, Emily is going to take over there we go, all of us.
Hello.
So yes, welcome, and welcome to our online audience. Lavender Rose and Kiki are here. Heather is here. So Women Speak Florida. Yes, the two of you pretty much founded Women Speak Florida. Let's start there. Talk about yourselves, where you're from, and what your inspiration was for Women Speak Florida. And go ahead, Jade, you can start.
Hi, I'm from Florida originally, one of those rare ones. Well, it started with Shelby. She goes by Wash Your Own Brain. She reached out to me and she encouraged me to do a speaker's corner here in Tampa, which I was terrified to do because it's just so overly woke here. I did. It was successful. And then VF made the suggestion that we should do one every single month here in Florida. And from there, we just kind of, this organic group formed.
Yeah, and so were you inspired by Posey Parker and the Let Women Speak tour of the USA?
Yeah, because that event like ignited a fire in me when I was actually surrounded by my sisters. Like it's an experience I really encourage everyone to try and have. There's nothing quite like being around like-minded women, strong, powerful women with the same voice and message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And, but there's also nothing quite like being surrounded by TRAs that are harassing you. Thankfully, Women Speak Florida events aren't facing that harassment. And so you actually get to hear the women speaking. You get to build up that sisterhood and that solidarity. That picture that you sent me last time was so beautiful of you with your signs and everything. VF, tell us where you're from, a little bit about yourself, and how you got involved with Women Speak Florida.
Okay, well, we're both Cuban, Miami lesbians. We've been around in the scene forever. I actually met her when there was lesbian clubs back in the day, long time ago when I used to do my drag shows. Anyhow, Posey Parker came and we all met and we just took over the group, It had to be done. Two lesbians are now running shit and now we do it and we want to go on a tour.
Yeah, so you want to go on a tour as Women Speak Florida. So that's interesting. I didn't know that there was a tour in the works other than going to NYC.
Well, that's gonna be our first.
Yeah, but
gotta start somewhere.
First New York City and then the world.
Okay, yes, that's how it works here in America, right? Da 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 in America.
See, California. I've actually never been to California. I really want to go. Absolutely.
Cool.
That's next.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's talk about, being in so both of you are from Tampa, you said, VF?
I am. Well, 305, where I'm from.
But you've been on the scene in Florida. And
all over.
What has Pride been like for you? What has it been like? Let's start with the past. We'll go to the present and then we'll move to the future. VF, do you want to talk about that first? What has Pride, the month of June, meant to you?
Well, at first it used to be Gay Pride, and it was only about homosexuals and our rights. We needed them. So it was a protest, mostly. And it was not for everybody. It was just gay people and our supporters. There was none of the kids stuff, none of this. It was just us with our protest signs, getting out there and facing opposition, because people used to be like hateful towards gay people. I used to, go anywhere and have these dirty looks and lose jobs, and employment was a struggle, back then. So we had to fight for that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but VF, do you remember what year the first Pride you went to was? Or that you were first involved or aware of it?
Probably around 96.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I came out, high school, so.
Took me a minute.
What about you, Jade? What was the year the first Pride you went to?
The first Pride year I went to was in 2002. I was still in college. I went to the Wilton Manors one, that's where VF and I used to run around as baby dykes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We hung out in the same bars. It was the 2002 Wilton Manors Pride. It was. I miss it. I don't know.
Was it a safe environment for lesbians?
Yeah. Actually, Wilton Manors is a city dedicated to, the LGBT community.
It is now.
It is one of the gayest cities in America. And back then that community was stronger than anything I've ever felt since. And I miss that camaraderie so bad.
And so has this, what's the name of the town again?
Wilton Manors.
Wilton Manors. Has it been captured by the trans cult?
It's still, gay men.
Yes, she's right. It's predominantly gay men, but you see a large amount of those trans flags. I think that they don't really support it. They have the optics of supporting it. V, do you get that same feeling?
Yeah, that's how it is there.
Yeah.
They support the gay ones, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So is it kind of like the gays and lesbians are now more underground, and it's more like the optics of trans because it's virtue signaling, and that's what sells, or that's what
lesbians got kicked out.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We got pushed out.
Wait. Sorry, I do. Yeah, we're all talking at once, and I'm like, I hear that. Que ustedes son cubanas, hablando mucho. But the lesbians were kicked out of this community. Is that what you're saying?
It closed.
Oh, it closed.
Yeah.
I think it's just so much easier for these gay men's communities to welcome, trans men into their spaces, and then they just ignore them. Because it's a male-dominated space, it's not that big of a deal for them to be like, whatever, we'll let these, women in, and they'll stand in the corner and be awkward or whatever, and everybody just ignores them all night, and then they can go home and blog about how they were, so ignored or whatever. But it's different in a lesbian space. When you let a man into a lesbian space, he dominates that space. And
it would be interesting to be a fly on the wall, though, in a gay men's space with women who identify as men, to see how they might be treated. Because what I'm experiencing in Madison during this Pride Month is a bowing down and bending over backwards for anybody who identifies as trans. It doesn't matter if they're male or female. Everyone's just you are so holy,
Although
that wasn't matters. No, it's definitely the men.
I was gonna say there's actually a gay bar walking distance from me, And I was telling Ella Androphobia, there's no trans flag, there's no be kind flag, there's only the OG flag.
Wow.
And I really want to go in there and see what the experience is like.
Yeah.
I really
I'd be so curious. I mean, if there was any business in Madison that just had any business that had the purple flag at all, I mean, I wouldn't even put it in my apartment window. I would be afraid of someone like throwing a brick through it. Like, that's how afraid I am to show that flag in this town.
Girl, same. I'm telling you, I'm not really afraid. I live in a neighborhood just outside of downtown Tampa called Seminole Heights. Every fucker here has excuse my language, every person here has a purple hair, blue hair, pink hair, and a name tag that says they, them. I mean, everybody.
It's the zombie apocalypse. It's so weird that all these, I mean, weird is an understatement and is making light of the situation. It's kind of terrifying. Like, I suffer from, I'm pretty sure, what would be thought of as PTSD because they have swarmed me and bullied me in so many ways and for years. And I don't understand how that can be a point of pride other than that meaning of pride that the original pride was not about. The original pride was about have no shame about who you are and who you love. And if you're same-sex attracted, that's okay. You should be confident and loved. You are loved and accepted. I think that was the original meaning.
I think they were that, like, yes, because I agree with you that the original meaning of pride is like we should be able to be ourselves, but it was literally a riot. Like it was literally, but back in that day and age, the New York City Police Department was routinely raiding gay bars and arresting everyone. There was like a rule about like how many pieces of clothing, normal clothing, your like sex clothing you had to be wearing, and like if you were wearing more than 3 items of the opposite sex clothing, you got arrested. And like, so they would routinely, and there were also like lots of the New York City gay bars were in cahoots with the mob and like paid the mob off and had mob protection because the mob was also in bed with the police, like paying the police off. But yeah, the like original Pride riot at Stonewall Bar in New York City was like the police came in to raid, and you know, one of the myth is that the gays were just like, not today, because Garland died recently. And so that's sort of like the lore around it, is that everybody was just like so torn up about Judy Garland dying like a week or a few days before that happened, that they were just like, no, you can't raid our bar tonight, and like fought back.
It was Stormy. What are you talking about? It was Stormy that started the pushback.
Yeah, you know. She's the one who was, well, the story, to my understanding, she was handcuffed and started yelling at everyone, like, do something, something, like, this has to come through. But yeah, I mean, there's so many, I mean, that's what's so interesting about this incident. It's not that far in the past. We do still have people who were there, who are alive today, and it's insane how differently the story has been told to,
these people,
to benefit the trans agenda.
The trans agenda.
Bricks being flown around. There was no bricks involved. It just was a place called Stonewall.
Yeah.
The trans agenda is motivated and propped up by lies. All of it is lies. Nobody's born in the wrong body. I saw the coolest sticker out on the bike path today and yesterday. It was handwritten on like a mailing label. It was white and it was handwritten, and it said, nobody is born in the wrong body. And it had a rainbow, just a straight up rainbow. And I was like, that is the sweetest. Yeah. And it was on a notorious poll where there have been all these sticker wars between TERFs and TRAs in Madison. and it hasn't been taken down. And some of the things that that they deem fascist is just so ridiculous. So let's talk about pride in the present, okay? Because I have a lot to say about that here in Madison. You know, I think I mentioned earlier that the mayor of Madison, who is a lesbian, raised the trans flag in a ceremony with an alder in the city of Madison for District 15, who is a male who identifies as transgender. And they did a flag raising ceremony of the trans flag in front of City Hall, and they said that it was going to be there for 1 week. So at least they do have a takedown date.
Really only, I thought it was up for the whole month.
It was 1 week, which that was another thing about.
That's so transphobic.
Yeah.
Well, that was another thing about my letter. It's like, what about, let's put up a lesbian pride flag, you know? And and it was interesting because I got an automatic response. And she's like, I read every email and I will respond, but this is an automatic response. And then I did not get a response. And I think, and I live in Madison. She's the mayor of Madison, you know.
No.
And so it's just Pride 2023 in Madison is all about trans and mutilating kids and covering it up and saying that it's about the rainbow family when it's,
or just like about capitalism. I mean, so it's there's already a very high number of Pride Progress flags in businesses that are not just gay businesses, like lots of regular businesses. I think that for me, as a gay person, that is the thing that has changed the most between the past and the present. Is like, in the past, that flag, any flag, rainbow flag, it was in a gay business. It was a business that was owned by a gay person or was frequented like majority by gay people. It was it was literally like a flag to be like, hey, come here and like support, you know, gay people or whatever. And now it's like a capitalism, like it's a selling point.
It's on T-shirts at Target.
Yeah, no real gays around it.
I don't know about for my Jewish family, but like it reminds me of like, imagine like a gay mezuzah, right? You see the gay flag on a business, be like, I'm safe. You touch the flag, I'm good to enter. You know.
That's so funny. That's so true. Yeah, and I don't feel that way anymore. I feel actually more cautious about going into businesses. I mean, especially if you have a Pride Progress flag next to a trans flag, I'm like, I don't even want to go in there.
Listen, I don't. I literally don't. If I see the trans flag on a business, I'm like Jesus, and like, and you know, like the blood on the door, be like, pass. Like, nope. Pass. Hard pass.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, it's pretty, and it's crazy. I remember in, let's see, I moved to San Francisco in 2017, and that was the year, and I don't know how much of it was a difference between New York City and San Francisco. Like, San Francisco was already like a, you know, more gay city because of the, you know, it's smaller and just had more gay people than New York. But like, I remember 2017 was the year when I was walking around the city that I was like, why the hell is there a giant rainbow flag at the Gap? Like, why is there a rainbow flag at J. Crew or whatever? Like, all these just clothing stores on the main drag that I was, and I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, and it's only just gotten worse.
Have anybody here recently been to an actual Pride parade?
I have lately, like maybe 3 years back before COVID.
Okay. So I think it was, it was last year. So one of my friends works for a brewery and he asked me to be on his float in downtown St. Pete. And I was like, all right. You would not believe everybody on that float had zero idea about gender ideology or trans ideology. Shocking. They were all gay dudes. They had no clue, literally no clue. I peeked the entire, like, I don't want to say the name of the brewery, but I peeked the entire brewery that day. But when walking through the parade, it was all about merchandise. It was all about capitalism. It had nothing to do with pride.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. The only thing I saw was either like businesses trying to like beg for your dollar or perverts trying to beg for your kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that is one of the most, fascinating things, like with this whole like Target Pride merch thing, and people being like, even some, lesbian feminist women who I would think would not fall for this, like what I see as like just the capitalist shill. We're like, we got to go support Target because the bad people don't want Target to have the Pride merch, and I was like. I mean, I looked at the Pride merch on Target, and it's like, do you really want to buy a T-shirt from Target that says queer on it? I can't fathom wanting to give my money to a company to put a slur on a T-shirt for me. Like,
it's astounding. It's astounding. It's crazy. I think when did queer become okay to say? Because even it coming out of my own mouth causes the nerves in the back of my neck to cringe. Yeah. I don't like the word. Older lesbians and gays, bisexuals don't like the word. It was always thrown at us in the most hurtful, vile way. So you want me to go spend $25 to plaster it on a T-shirt and walk around in it?
Right.
No.
Because queer has no meaning.
I have always. What? I'm sorry. Can you repeat what you said? I spoke over you.
That queer does not mean gay. It just means any gay. That's why.
Right. I think queer legitimately in this day and age means like straight people who are pretending to be gay. Like that is who identifies as queer generally, because like you were saying, Jade, like real gay people, especially, gay people who are over 20, remember what it felt like to be called queer. And my entire experience being in like going from a gay space that turned into a trans space, I remember when that shift started where people were like, well, why don't we just all call each other queer? And it was like, if you think that we should call each other queer, you've never been called queer. Like you've not, if you're like, whatever, we should all use it. You've never been in a moment where you were afraid that someone was going to beat the hell out of you for looking gay.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? When did you feel that shift?
2014. I was living in New York City and I was involved in a theater company that was like, as in the first year that I was there, that maybe it was 13, 14 or 14, 15. It must have been 14, 15. And I remember like learning about pronouns, and I remember the day where I thought to myself, oh, I can't make jokes about not liking dick anymore because I'll get in trouble.
Oh, when you self-thought, what I like to call self-think, when you think to yourself, I should not say this out loud because I will be reprimanded.
Yeah.
We started self-policing our own thoughts around 2014.
Yeah.
You're 100% right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back then being terrified that I was like afraid of having conversations that would be about sex, that people would know or ask about what my preferences were, and that I would be revealed to be a TERF. Because I knew I was a lesbian,
No, the term TERF, I don't think was around in 2014.
It was in my community. Yes. That's where I was, because I remember having that thought, oh my God, I'm a TERF. If they find out.
Okay, so can I tell a story? Thank you, Kiki. She sent me a message to remind me. Okay, so I recently have a new bartender that I trained, right? Mm-hmm. So yay, no more like overtime for me. So on the very first day of training her, she's like, how do you identify? And I'm like, I don't identify. And she's like, well, I identify as queer. And I said, don't use that word around me. Oh. And I said, like literally straight up, I'm like, don't use that word around me. And I said, listen, we clearly have the wrong opposite ends on this opinion. All right. Let's not talk about it so we can keep a professional atmosphere here at work. Period. End of story. 2 days later, I was pulled into my general manager's office and was like, I wasn't in trouble. They were like, you're not in trouble. And I was like, okay. They're like, you can't talk about the trans issue anymore. And I was like, I beg your pardon. And they were like, yeah, some employees are uncomfortable, feel unsafe with the language you use. I was like, okay. I will be careful. And she's like, we're coming into Pride Month. We have to be careful. There's the NAACP with a warning, and the Equality Florida with a warning. We're afraid this is going to affect our revenue. I was like, say less. I'm okay. I will behave. Right? What do you think I did? I went and got myself a tumbler from Parker Posey that said woman, adult, human, female. I ain't talking about it.
So have you had any issues using that at work?
God, yes. I got this dude lost his crap on me like a couple weeks ago. So I had it behind the bar, and this guy comes up and he wants a margarita, and he's like asking me, like, what do I drink? I said, well, I drink a female-owned and operated tequila by the name of La Gratonia. And so he goes and he's like, you're being a TERF, you're exclusionary. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you referred me to that woman tequila. And I was like, yes, I suggested a female tequila. He's like, that language is transphobic. And I said, female is transphobic. And he was like, yes. And he went and I complained to the manager, and I was like, this is 2 days after I was just told not to talk about the trans issue.
Oh no!
Yes.
How long ago what is your time frame here? Was this?
This happened. Hold on, I can because I put it on Twitter. I can find out really quick when I did that.
Oh, you put it on Twitter. You're not fired yet?
No. The picture I took at work. I think I have it pinned.
We're a little more protected than you guys.
Oh my God, I show you this picture. It's so funny. Yeah. But if you go to my Twitter, it's literally pinned. Oh no, that one's not pinned. That's the TERF one is. I gotta find this. Y'all continue. I'm gonna find this picture really quick.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine that happening in Madison, like any place in or I don't know. Maybe I'm sure there are plenty of maybe bars where that, but any of the gay bars, any of the places that are, you would have been. I mean, we've had friends get
you would have been fired on the spot
for just saying. Yeah,
has your boss seen the Tumblr with adult, human, female on it?
I don't think so.
Well, girlfriend, if you're
let's try to make this happen, okay?
About it on the live.
Oh wait, okay. I'm gonna send the picture of the gay dude.
You're walking in dangerous.
I mean, I really hope you don't get fired.
Yeah,
seriously, for real.
I know. I took a picture of the gay guy. It's on my Twitter too. I'm gonna send that one to you too.
Okay.
All right. How do I send this to people? Okay. Share tweet via. Okay.
Okay. Lavender Rose says that Wisconsin went way more woke than Michigan. Right. Lavender, please let us know in the comments what you mean by that. We love Michigan. We're going to Michigan, but there's some woke shit happening in Michigan too. Yeah. I mean,
but I agree with her. I mean, you went to that thing the other night about Dane, the county that we live in just declared itself. They like voted on it at City Hall. I don't know if it's like a. What kind
of love you.
It's an ordinance for Dane County.
For the county, that they're a sanctuary county.
We're a trans sanctuary.
Yeah. Well, everybody from Florida is moving there. I mean, throwing them over there. That's what we're doing. They're scaring them here.
Okay, check the private messages. I sent you both.
Detroit don't play, she says. Cool.
I sent both of them. The first one I sent you is the guy that lost his crap on me. You can see he's wearing the trans flag. Oh, so the story gets better. So the next day he comes back to the bar and he's like, hey, I want to apologize for my behavior. And I was like, thanks. He's like, I had a brother who's now my sister. And I was like, as he's wearing that trans hat.
Wow.
I was like,
wow.
So he didn't actually complain to management. So I dodged a bullet.
Or is it okay for us to show the Twitter here? I can do
go right ahead.
I thought you didn't know how to do that.
I think I know how to do it.
Okay, show the screen.
Share screen.
That one or the other one? Okay, well that's the dude.
This dude.
Yeah.
And then now show. Yeah, that's the cute picture of you.
You see the hat? You see that hat? You see the trans hat?
Yeah.
The trans what?
His hat.
Oh yeah, his hat. Yeah.
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 Okay.
And then the other one of me is like walking into work, being like, "Don't talk about the trans issue."
You are. I mean, Crystal's lost plenty of jobs because over fucking trans harassment. So we're like, oh my God, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah, and I would like you to keep us posted about what happens in the future, because
but it's awesome. I mean, fuck yeah. Like, why can't we? It's Pride Month. I mean,
it's like TERF Pride, right? Like, that takes us to the future. It's like, why can't, if they can have their identities, if they can identify as like a disabled man in a wheelchair with a sexual fetish or whatever, if that can be their identity and that's how they identify, why can't we identify the way that we identify and coexist? I mean, I've not heard any, and that's so ironic too, because they call us the ones that are exclusionary, trans exclusionary, radical feminist, TERF, right? Well, we're not exclusionary. I mean, I know I'm not exclusionary. What am I excluding them from? Nothing. They're excluding us from our spaces and from being in public, and so I just think in the future we need to educate, agitate, and inspire one another. And I think that that's what Women Speak Florida is trying to do July 23rd in NYC. So I'm going to hand the mic back over to Jade to just talk about what inspired you to do an event in New York City called TERF Pride. And what is
that's her. This
yes.
I'm taking a back seat on this one. This was all VF.
Okay, so I'll hand the mic to VF then. What are you doing? How did you get inspired to do TERF Pride? What is it in New York City?
Okay. Well, I decided we got to take back Pride for us lesbians and for women and everybody else. We need to celebrate ourselves. We need to protest. It's time to fight back. And I figured where place better to start the, community union of event than New York, where all the woke shit comes from, with the Florida team being the cure for it. So we're definitely there to like wake people up and connect the community. It's going to be a global party.
It's going to be a party.
That's party hard after you work hard.
Yes. After you work hard. Okay, and do you have, for the public event? Do you have any? I don't want to put your event, in danger in any way. I don't want you to share any, real logistical details about where and when and all of that. But if you could maybe describe for women who might be interested in being part of TERF Pride in New York City, what is your timeline? Like, when do they show up and what are you going to do? Are you going to have a potluck? What is it going to look like?
Well, we're going to have a demonstration event, like we're going to come together at the UN. This is going to be the 23rd. Contact us for details.
Location. Okay. Contact you for details. All right. Do you have a police liaison, or do you have a permit?
We're working on the permit. I'm actually talking to retired cops in that precinct that I have hired that will be our protection.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm really glad to hear that. And I think that'll increase your interest and your attendance. As far as attendance, so if I'm out there listening and I'm like, oh, I live close to New York City, I'd love to be there that weekend. It's a weekend? Is it a weekend?
Sunday.
Okay. I'd love to be there for that weekend. I'm going to contact them. Then what happens after I contact you?
Then I have a Zoom meeting with you to verify that you are an actual female. The same thing we do with FEMAX, like we don't disclose any personal information or details about the event until I have been put all of my nerves at ease. I know that who you are, you have been verified, you have been vetted. From there, we pretty much still keep those details very vague, just in case, roundabout where we're going to meet, when we're going to meet, and things like that.
And so when you're vetting a woman that you've never met before who contacts you and wants to be involved and wants to be there, does she just have a Zoom meeting with you, or does she become a part of an email listserv or a way for all of the participants to talk with one another, or?
Yes. Well, actually, all of the above. If they want to, we have a dedicated signal group so that these women and girls can actually get to know each other in their own community. Because a lot of these women feel very disconnected and they feel very much alone. So that they've actually met other women in their area now because of the signal group. Okay. So that does help. As for some of them, do not feel comfortable joining the signal group. That way, if they don't, they remain in contact with me via email, via cell phone, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Have you been engaging in conversations with other police liaison activists like Amy Souza and Kay Yang?
Yes, Kay Yang, we're in touch with her, and Maria from Sovereign Women Speak. We're working. Oh,
good, because we all need to share knowledge and collaborate and cooperate with one another, because there are ways of learning through time of how to negotiate with the police, but not necessarily be deep in with the police, because I think in some cases, or if you are, it's like you realize that they are there in service to you, and you have to always be looking at it that way, and also with a little bit of skepticism, because as you know, the police have their own biases and they're human beings, and there's politics. There's always politics. But what we saw on the Let Women Speak tour, the USA tour with Posey Parker, is that the New York City police, I'm so glad. Are you also talking to Amanda Stolman? Because she was key in the police liaison work for New York City during that the Posey Parker tour.
I'm sorry.
Amanda Stolman. I can put you in touch with her.
Yeah, if you could. If you can put us in touch, it'd be great.
She was the one who secured the permits. Anyway, I will send you an email with her email information afterwards. But this is what I'm talking about, is like, we need to talk to each other. We need to network. We need to collaborate. We need to cooperate and believe in training, and like how we can train each other as we go along, because we need armies of women. We need tons of women out on the streets who are going to be able to face these guys down. But also we need to have the police protect us so that we can demonstrate our First Amendment rights. I mean, this is hard stuff in America that we're facing right now. I really think we're facing down an authoritarian movement that disguises itself as this marginalized group or whatever. But
it's okay. So you were talking about how you reached out to your mayor. I wanted to do the same thing, but the problem is the mayor here in Tampa is a lesbian, and she was once the chief of police, and she's 100% indoctrinated by this ideology. That's why I fear doing events here in Tampa, because I know deep down we would not have protection. In fact, they would probably watch us get our ass beat.
Right. And so these things, what did you pick New York City in part because of how the police had been during the Posey Parker event?
No, it's like a central hub for TERFs to, unite our community. We're trying to work with everybody else because nobody else is as fortunate as us. So we're going to take it on ourselves.
Right on. I mean, I like focusing on solidarity and sisterhood too, but I just know that within the feminist community, because these TRAs are so violent and so obnoxious, that women want to feel safe, or safer. If you're going to go out onto the streets and there's going to be a police barricade with violent protesters on the other side of the line, you want to feel like your organizers and everybody's on the same page, and you've got some plans in place for escape and your personal safety. You know? So it sounds like you're working on that. I'm excited that Amanda's name came up, because I'll also send you the link to the conversation we had about that event.
Nice.
About 3 weeks after it happened. So it was fresh on everyone's mind. It was a live stream where they went into a lot of detail, both Kay Yang and Amanda Stolman, about their police liaison work with the NYPD. I think the UN is in a different precinct, though. And precincts can vary from precincts to precinct. That's how it is in Madison. There's the Capitol Police, there's the UW Police, there's the City of Madison. There are different types of police, and it can be very complex. So it's good to be on the top of your game, and it sounds like you are working in that direction. And I'm sure that.
Yeah, every event that we have here in Florida, I absolutely contact the local the police department. I let them know who we are, what we do, and what we stand for, so that there's no surprise, that they know when we're going to be there, when we're going to be done, and whatnot. So I don't ever walk into a city that they don't know we're coming and know what we're there for. So yeah,
that's great. Awesome. Marsha Matthews says hire a bus. I remember the days when I was part of the anti-capitalist, movement against the WTO's policies in the early 2000s, where they had the Battle of Seattle in 2000, and then onwards into the next few years. I remember those days. We literally hired buses and would take hundreds of people from Madison to DC to demonstrate. I wish TERFs would do that. I think that would be so cool. Like TERF Pride, come on, we got to come out, sisters. We got to come out.
That could be next year's goal. If you want to be on it,
come out. And then if you, Marsha Matthews, maybe you could be the point person for the bus, sister.
Yes. Be like this.
Always be another one next year. So
the little gay bus.
Yeah.
The Freedom Bus. Yeah.
Yes, the Freedom Bus.
Because we are Americans, right? And freedom is important, and we have a history of movements that are guided by a concept of freedom and also justice. And Emily was commenting to me the other day. She's like, these TRAs, they post memes that we totally agree with about pro-immigrant rights, against war and war spending, military spending, other things like that we are in agreement about. And then it's like, I don't know. I wish they didn't hate us so much. It's like, why do they hate us? Because they hate women, because this is about woman hatred is what the trans movement is about. And so,
and it's because they know they're not women. So they can't allow people to exist anywhere near them who are not playing along with their fantasy, because it
100%
breaks the reality, and they need to live in a world where every single person around them is like, yes, ma'am, you look so cute today. Because one person even giving them the slightest side eye reminds them that they're not a woman and they never will be.
But why do we care so much about their feelings? We shouldn't.
I agree with that. I agree we shouldn't care about their feelings, and that we should care about our rights. And that we are full human beings, full citizens with the right to demonstrate, and that it's fun. If you come into the street with your sisters and you've got a good plan, you've got a permit, you've got a police liaison that's solid, that's done her research and hired security, if you have all of that in place, please come, sisters. It's so much fun. It is so much fun to TERF and you.
Be part of the live stream after party. Please.
I mean, honest to God, I talk to V about this all the time. The TERFing out there is where you find your voice, you find your power. It's like a drug. You become addicted to it. Like, honest to God, after Miami, I'm like, this is great. I have to do this again. And once you do it once, you're scared, you're nervous, you're shaking, and you're like, in your mind, you're like, oh my God, I did this. And then this realization is like, wait, she's right. I can do this. And then you go out there, you find your voice, you get on the streets and you do it, and you do it again and again. But it's the after party, that bonding with your sisters that everybody in this community needs to experience once. Your sisterhood is everything, and you need to be there. You need to be in this movement. Yeah. Do what you have to do to get out there, because
I wish I could go July 23rd. I really do, but it's so far away. But anyone who lives within 100 miles of NYC, or if you know anybody who lives, give us the email address. It's womenspeakflorida at gmail.com, right? I'm just going to put that up on as a banner.
And like I said, I get everybody discounts on hotels. So, and we can bunk up, get 2 or 3 people to a hotel room. You don't have to worry about the price of that because we can all share it and split it. We just need bodies.
Yeah.
I feel like that guy from New York. I got bodies.
So ladies out there who are listening, if you are within 100-mile radius of New York City, I challenge you to look at your calendars. Look at your calendars. Look at July 23rd and see what's going on. And hook up with a couple of other sisters in your area. And then write an email to womenspeakflorida@gmail.com. Get vetted and get out there. So I implore you. Hell yeah. Right on. And yeah, let's put the activism into activism again. You know, we can't just be keyboard warriors. I appreciate that you're doing a live stream after the live event, but I mean, live from New York. That is such an American thing.
It's TERF Sunday night.
You know, like we got to be live and with each other in person, building that sisterhood and that solidarity and losing the fear, shaking it out, you know, shake out all that fear, because when you're all together in the streets in our sisterhood and you've got a good plan, you know, the fear it turns to adrenaline that's excitement, and then you perform at your best, you know, and you feel like a superhero. That's what you were talking about, sort of, Jade, is, I mean, wouldn't it be fun for all of us to wear Wonder Woman outfits to one of these things, you know, like
costume party? I'm all about it. Yes. I love a good costume party. I'm all about it. Let's.
So yeah, put the fun into TERF in USA.
Well, I mean, I think that I just wanted to say that, like, I so agree with everything you're saying, both of you. And I think, like, the true, you know, as we are bonding together as women to fight the system for our rights, the real prize, like, as we are, you know, not necessarily able to, like, achieve all those goals of, like, getting our legal rights right now, having that community of women is a rewarding part of it. Having women to sit down and talk with and be like, what the hell is going on? And like, I'm just a fucking lesbian and I'm sick of men, you know, like that is like, there's, like you were saying, there's just nothing like it, you know, being with your sisters who aren't buying the bullshit. There's nothing like being with a group of lesbians.
Yeah.
Or just a group of women.
Women, adult human females who don't believe in the trans shit is the most amazing thing, to be in a group of women that have peaked. And look, Marsha Matthews has taken, she's going to look into getting out there, Marsha. I met Marsha at the Fighting the New Misogyny event where we had 200 women out. And then a few men too. I mean, I think it was like 300 in the auditorium, and it was so glorious. And I thought that's the direction that we were moving in, until the violence in the streets, I think, or something. I don't know, but I hope that TERF in USA, or what is it called? TERF Pride July 23rd.
What in the ministry?
TERF Pride July is a successful.
It will be.
And
the right people, the right team. I have no doubts about this.
Yeah. So, well, then we've got our TERF ducks in a row. And if you want to say anything else, it's.
Oh, I have one last question I want us all to answer. I want us to talk about, like, we're talking about TERF Pride, which is sort of the future, but like, I have a vision in my head of like what I would enjoy in the future as a real lesbian pride, because I don't go to the, you know, I mean, I was never like a parade person because even before it got taken over, it was too crowded and stuff. But like for me, imagining like a wonderful future lesbian pride is just like, I would want to spend a June full moon on Women's Land with a bunch of women having a potluck and a dance party and a little dance naked under the moon at midnight.
Wow, that's amazing. But is that private then? That's private.
Yeah,
That's private. That's 100% private.
definitely.
And that's interesting to think
You
about
know me.
an event because, I mean, in a sense it is, but Pride is about coming out, like.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
But I do want to do what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think Pride and
It's the after party. I told you.
I thought I was the only nudist one here, but like, okay, gang, let's go. But as long as there's no camping involved, I'm good. Outdoor naked barbecue, I'm all for.
yeah.
Yes.
That's hilarious. You can be your bartender and bring your AHF.
Yeah, let's.
So funny. So anyway, before we leave, just want to give a shout out to WLRN. That's who you're listening to right now, and you're on our channel, our YouTube channel, and that is our website. And if you would like to donate, that would be great. We have been going for about 7 years. We've got a cool merch page, and we can keep you in awesome Turf and USA merch for years to come. And then also, I wanted to put this back up on the screen and just reiterate that if you'd like to be involved with Turf Pride 2023 in New York City, email womenspeakflorida@gmail.com and speak with VF and Jade about their event and get vetted and get creative and get into the streets with your sisters.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and also, if you want us to travel to a state near you, also reach out to us because we would love to make this a statewide thing. Just because we're Women Speak Florida doesn't mean that we're not willing to join hands with our sisters across the country. So let us know.
Awesome.
All right. Anything else anyone would like to add before we sign off?
Plug in my my Substack if you want to.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. So yeah, to be in touch with VF, there's her Substack. Embrace the Rage. You want to tell us just a little bit in these last moments what it's about?
Well, it's basically the insider scoop of what it takes to like run this group, and with Jade here and all our inside stories, lots of gossip, and you know everything first.
All right.
It's
well,
definitely entertaining.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's look at the comments one last time, and let's see. It says, "Hi, Spiky, stay strong. Embrace the rage, Marsh." Okay. Well, have a wonderful afternoon, ladies.
Everyone.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Ciao.